Hi, in this video we'll be covering the long history of trade on the isthmus that we know today as Panama, a range of infrastructure projects initiated there by global powers and the struggle for Panamanian sovereignty. This timeline is inspired by the presentation 500 Years in the Making, Everything You Wanted to Know About the Panama Canal by Dr. Marisa Lasso, Dr. Jonathan Brown, and Dr. Zach Elkins given earlier this year. There's a lot to cover, so I'm going to quickly go over the highlights and the timeline will be linked in the description. All right, so first, before Spanish colonizers arrived in the Americas, there's evidence of the isthmus being part of complex indigenous trade networks. But after the arrival of the Spanish Governor Pedro Arias ordered the construction of 2 routes across the isthmus. These were built by enslaved Nicaraguans, and the route facilitated the trade of Peruvian silver. Panama also served as an important port for enslaved Africans. Fast forward to the mid-19th century, Panama is now a part of the Republic of New Granada. Then the United States makes a treaty with Panama, allowing for the unrestricted passage of American cargo and people across the isthmus. This is really interesting. When the gold rush struck the United States in 1849, hundreds of thousands of people in America took a boat to Panama, crossed the isthmus, and then took another boat to the Pacific coast. Popular history in the United States has us imagine all migrants as moving west via schooner wagons across the continent, really. But actually, people took many routes to get to the Pacific coast. Settlers took many routes, and Panama played a key role in some people's journey. In 1855, the Panama Railroad opened, and people began taking that to cross the isthmus. Cargo was also sent across the railroad. In the 1880s, the French government tried to build a canal through Panama, and this project failed because of financial reasons, but this was the first really big canal project that occurred in Panama. By the early 1900s, the United States was looking to build a canal. They had tried to build one in Nicaragua in the 1890s, but increasingly had their eyes on taking over this failed French project and picking up where they left off. However, as they negotiated a treaty with the Colombian government, the United States kept on insisting on gaining full control over the canal, along with a canal zone, which spanned 10 miles wide around the canal. The United States didn't want the Colombian government to get taxes from cargo moving through the canal either. When the Colombian government refused, the United States government looked for other ways to secure this treaty. The U.S. government saw their opportunity in the fractured Panamanian independence movement. In a scheme with Frenchman Philippe Benu Barilla, the U.S. supported the independence movement and prevented Colombia from taking back a newly independent Panama. In 1903, the Hay-Benu Barilla Treaty fulfilled all of the U.S. demands, allowing for the U.S. To maintain sovereignty over the 10-mile wide canal zone. This is because after their role in supporting the Panamanian independence movement, the new president supported U.S. interests. In 1912, an executive order by President William Howard Taft led to the depopulation of this 10-mile wide canal zone that followed the canal. This was part of a larger reconstruction of Panama society that led to divides between Americans, the West Indian immigrants who built the canal, and the native Panamanians. As historian Marisa Lasso said, 20th century now became a struggle of Panamanian protest for sovereignty. In the 1950s and 1960s, the Panamanian flag was used as a symbol for sovereignty, and students raised them across the canal zones. In 1964, there was a famous incident that led to riots after students raised a Panamanian flag in the canal zone. However, when Carter was elected president, he began talks with the Panamanian government about starting a new treaty. And the Torrijos-Carter treaties began a transition of canal control from the United States to Panama. And by 2000, Panama gained full control over the canal, and the U.S. was given rights to defend the canal. So that is a very brief history of this complex 2 centuries regarding a canal in Panama and 500 years, as Marisa Lasso and the rest on the panel I mentioned at the beginning of this video dive into. If you have more questions or want to check out this timeline, please see the link in the description. Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching our History on the Headlines episode. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like and comment what history you want us to explore next. If you're interested in how we make our timelines, you should check out Clevis. Follow us on all our socials that are linked in the description.